The history of baseball is very rich in unforgettable moments and interesting facts. There are some things that are not fully known to today's society. This kind of mystery always creates a solid ground for conspiracy, and in our video, we'll talk about baseball conspiracy theories that changed everything. Let us first talk about the conspiracy which claims that in August 1997, Baltimore Orioles deliberately created a lighting malfunction in order to save Cal Ripken Jr.'s streak. Calvin Edwin Ripken Jr., who's also called the Iron Man, is an American former baseball shortstop who played 21 seasons in Major League Baseball for the Orioles. When it came to his streaks, he would always start the game. Only 4 times he voluntarily withdrew from the game before the 7th inning. For over 5 years, he played every single inning of every single game. So as you see, he would never deliberately miss a game during his streak, but he did once. Rumor has it that in August 2017, Ripken had to miss the game because he caught his wife cheating on him with famous actor Kevin Costner, who by that time was staying at Ripken's place. After that, there was a mysterious malfunction in the ballpark's lighting system, which was thought to have been created by an Orioles employee. The game was canceled, and Ripken's streak was preserved. In 2008, in an interview on NPR, Ripken talked about this rumor. Here's what he said. "It's easy to check the facts of that one. I remember it very well. The bank of lights went off, and Randy Johnson was pitching for the Seattle Mariners. And we were deciding what to do about that. Was there enough visible light out there to actually see a guy throwing over 100 miles per hour? The bank was just over our dugout, and I physically went out and tested it for the umpire. I was in discussion with the umpires. I was definitely there. I was ready to play. And the funny part about it was, we all decided it was better that we play that night because the next day would have been a Sunday day game and Randy Johnson would have been thrown out of the stands. And in day games, he's much harder to see. So we all decided that that's what we were going to do." Evidently, Lou Pineda told Seattle a little different story that the game wasn't going to go, and they started leaving the ballpark, so we didn't have that option after all. We scheduled it for the next day and we played, but I definitely was there, and I'm sure I was on camera a number of times being out on the field. It was proven that this conspiracy was just a myth. Next, we'll talk about Barry Bonds getting blacklisted. Barry Bonds, a former San Francisco Giants star, had seen tons of success during his athletic years. During his 22-year career, he was named All-Star 14 times. He was forced to retire after facing allegations of steroid use. It literally destroyed his reputation and disappointed his voters. So here's the conspiracy. Bonds said that Major League Baseball decided to give him a death sentence, and that is the main reason for his retirement. In an interview with The Athletic, he also discussed how much of an effect the steroid use allegations had on his voters. He needed to receive 75% of votes in order to be enshrined, but he only got 60.7%. "If they don't want me, just say you don't want me and be done with it," Bonds said about the Hall of Fame. Just be done with it. Bonds strongly believes that the MLB deliberately got rid of him. However, most of the fans think it is just a conspiracy, and the reality is that he just failed the drug test. Here's what Quora user Christopher Palario writes about this matter. "No, Bonds did fail one drug test for amphetamines back in 2007, when a first offense for greenies earned you a mere warning and not a suspension. The only player ever to completely flunk out of MLB due to repeated failed drug tests was pitcher Jenry Mejia, and even he was able to grovel his way back into MLB. So nobody to date has been permanently banned for doing PEDs." Another user, Michael E. Cohen, also writes, "Bonds was never banned from or by the MLB. He was strongly suspected of using steroids and may have failed the test, although I'm not sure of that. The combination of his suspected steroids use and his tremendous explosion of batting talent in the latter part of his career made him very controversial. However, Bonds was never banned from MLB like Pete Rose and Joe Jackson were. Bonds was never found to have gambled on baseball or broken another rule that carried the penalty of expulsion from MLB. Even though this conspiracy is not that far from reality, the issue still remains unsolved, but it is more probable that the reason for this incident was a failed drug test." Now we'll talk about an agreement of Pete Rose. Peter Edward Rose, also known as Charlie Hustle, is an American former baseball manager and player. In August of 1989, Rose signed an agreement which placed him on the permanent ineligible list. This happened because he violated Major League Rule 21. According to the rules, it's quite possible for an individual on the ineligible list to apply for reinstatement. In February of 2015, Rose's attorneys announced that Mr. Rose had taken the responsibility for his mistakes and is deeply sorry for betting on the game of baseball. They announced that Rose made a request for reinstatement and removal from the ineligible list. So here's the conspiracy theory. Rose's lifetime ban was a facade from the beginning. According to the story, Rose and then Commissioner Bart Giamari had an agreement that after some time they would rescind the ban. The problem is that several days after the ban was levied, Giamari passed away. This conspiracy is very likely to be true because Rose always acted like this ban was a misunderstanding, like he always knew he would eventually get out of it. Here is what was written in his petition. "In recent years, intentional and covert overt acts by current and past owners, managers, coaches, and players altered the outcomes of numerous games, including the World Series, and illegally enhanced both team and player performance. It has never been suggested, let alone established, that any of Mr. Rose's actions influenced the outcome of any game or the performance of any player. Yet for the 31st year and counting, he continues to suffer a punishment vastly disproportionate to those who have done just that. Given the manner in which Major League Baseball has treated and continues to treat other egregious assaults on the integrity of the game, the petition reads, Mr. Rose's ongoing punishment is no longer justifiable as a proportional response to his transgressions. However, his application always got denied. In 2015, Manfred denies his request. In 2017, he had another attempt with the Hall of Fame officers and again rejected. There's no way MLB will ever reinstate him, and obviously the Hall of Fame is not going against the wishes of the main league. So I guess Rose is going to be stuck in this state forever. The final conspiracy we will talk about is John Lester using lubes for the World Series. So people have been freaking out about the weird green stuff in Lester's glove while playing in the World Series. It was easy to notice on TV. We can't say for sure what it was, but probably John Lester was cheating. He was caught touching that green spot several times before throwing a pitch. It's also noteworthy that when he was adjusting his hat, he would not touch his cap with the index finger like he didn't want to wipe the substance on his cap. Despite that, there was also a close-up picture taken during the game, and it didn't show anything inside the glove, and the spot didn't appear as green as it was on the television. Fans have their opinion about this matter. Reddit user Hosco817 writes, I'm willing to bet that the green substance in question is just dried epoxy used as a quick fix. Having replaced countless gloves in the past, I've seen plenty of times where the leather dries around the holes and guys will just use shoe glue or another form of silicone as a fix. That usually isn't a place where you would hide Vaseline. No pitcher in their right mind would use something so conspicuous. Another user, Goofy Goofed, wrote, are you saying that he didn't have a spare glove to use, or he doesn't make enough money to buy a new glove? Why would he not touch his hat with that finger after he touches the spot on his glove? Like he doesn't want to wipe off whatever he touched. Whatever that was, Lester was not punished or disqualified, and we will never know for sure whether he was cheating or not. But there is a strong reason to suspect that he was. On this note, we end our video. Thank you for watching, and talk to you in the next video.